Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Yogesh Pating, Assistant Professor in Commerce, GS College of Commerce, Varda. We are here for the another lecture of International Business Environment, MCOM second year, fourth semester. We had already started unit first from last 2 or 3 lectures, and today we are going to discuss a new point: types of international business. As it is the first unit of this subject, in this particular unit we have to study the fundamental things, basic concepts of this entire subject. That's why we are going to study the very important point regarding examination, that is types of international business. As we discussed in earlier lecture, that when we are engaging in a business, and that is particularly of international level, then there are a lot of variations, dimensions attached to this type of business. In a domestic environment, you have some restrictions, you have very less scope in comparison to international business, because in a domestic business actually your boundaries are being sealed, your boundaries are limited to your own nation. You just can't expand your business beyond the boundaries of your nation. But when you do a business at international level, you are actually the entire world is open for you. You just can go to any nation, you can partner with any company of any nation, any country. You can be a member of any organization which is engaged in international business. That whole options are available as a businessman to you when you are engaging in international business. So it is very necessary to study what are the different types of international business when some person want to engage himself or herself in that business activity of an international level, international nature. So these are the types these are the types of international business in which, if someone wants to do a business, can engage himself or herself. The first one is the import and export. Actually that is a very general thing that we understand, that when you are engaging in international business, you have either you have to do import or export. Why there is a need of import and export, that is another thing, because if you are in a deficit of something, you can do import. If you have something in surplus, you can do export. So this is a thing. Again, you just can't rely completely on exports, because when you are engaging in a business, you have to give something, take something. So that thing is actually a import and export. So there is no any nation where I think there is no any type of nation where there is 100% export, because if you are exporting something, it is very much necessary, as this organization setup, as this business setup is there, that you have to import something. So when you are actually taking something to your country, that is called as import, and when you are actually giving something to another country or another business company, that thing is called as export. So this is the first primary type of business, international business, that import and export. The second one is, which is now actually a very famous one, and the government is going for this type of investments, that is called as a foreign direct investment, FDI. Foreign companies can do investment in our countries, our companies can go for investment in other countries. That type of investment, when one company is directly actually investing in another company of another country, that thing is called as a foreign direct investment. So right now government has given permission for different sectors for FDI. It can be a retail, it can be a banking, it is insurance, it's metal, so it's IT. So there are different sectors which are already being opened, or government is going to open for foreign direct investment. Why there is a need of foreign direct investment? Because when foreign investment comes to that particular sector, that sector becomes competitive, which is very necessary. As we can see in the changes, what happened in telecommunication sector, if you go beyond 20 to 20, 30 years, there were only MTNL or BSNL. Now if you see that telecommunication sector is very competitive. Actually, because of that competitive thing, that sector is actually having a tremendous losses. So that is another thing. But again, when one sector is going to be open for FDI, that sector has what we can say, we can see the competitiveness in that particular sectors. Prices will go down, and that will help the ultimate consumers to gain more from that particular sector. So the second type of international business is foreign direct investment. It is applicable for foreign company, it is applicable for our domestic company also. So for example, if Infosys wants to do investment in another country, they can go with the help of FDI if that particular nation allows the FDI in that particular company. So it depends on permissions, it depends on rules and regulations of that country, but it is actually a very good opportunity for any nation, for any company to do a direct investment in that particular sector, because it will ultimately help to investing company to spread its what we can say, to spread the business, to expand the business. That can be possible with the help of foreign direct investment. Third one is the licensing. Now look, if you are giving a license to someone that okay, you can do a manufacturing, you can go for the services of that particular thing, that can be possible with the help of licensing. Means for example, if one company gives a license to another company to do a production, to do a manufacturing, to offer the services, that thing is called as a licensing. It means that one company is giving a license to another company to operate in the same way which this licensing company is actually operating. It means that the company which is giving a license don't have to do anything. It's just giving a license to that company. Okay, you can do a work, you can offer services, what we are doing. That thing is called as a licensing. So the company which is providing a license, which is giving a license, they just have to sit at their own place, at their own location. They are just giving a license to other company to work as they are working. That thing is called as a licensing. The fourth type of international business is franchising. As we can just go to a market and see, we have the Domino's here, we have different franchises located in our market area. Those set up, that system is called as a franchising. For example, if you go to a shop of Domino's and if you see a Reliance Trade or Reliance Digital, actually these are the franchising which are being run by companies. So Reliance Trade or Reliance Digital or Domino's, these are the companies which are being, these are the franchises which are being run by the company. So this is also one type of business where one company can work in this particular system of international business. So if you see the Domino's, if you see the different kinds of franchises, they have the presence with the help of that franchisee, and you can operate your business with the help of, you can give franchisee to someone if he offers a good price to you, or there are some franchises which are company owned, company just depute their people to that particular place and they run that franchisee. So franchisee has different setups. They can be run by common people, they can run by a company itself. So whatever the setup is, franchisee is also a good option if you want to start a business at international level. So a company from India can set up a franchisee in America, and they can give that franchisee to a local person, or a company can depute their own people at that particular location and can run that business. That thing is called as a franchisee. So this is also one type of international business. Joint venture, it's like a partnership, but again joint venture means company from our nation, company from America. If you see the example like that, then they can come together, they can work out their plan properly, they can set out their rules and regulations, they will see what will be the profit or loss sharing, and they can start a business. That thing is called as a joint venture. So actually it is a very easy thing to start international business like this if you go for a joint venture. For example, a company from our India and will tie with a company of America and do a business. So if a company of our nation is doing a business in America, then it will be easy for this company, because they don't have to look out in a very detailed way, because already the people of that company of America knows everything about America, about their rules and regulation, and it will be very easy to set up a business in a joint venture. So that thing is also very important when you look out at an international business. What type of business suits to you, that is very important. It should be very easy, because there are very stringent rules and regulations. When you are work out at international business, you have to follow the rules and regulations set up by different international bodies, international organizations, World Trade Organization, NAFTA, Then what we can say, the oil importing and exporting countries, they have their own organization and they had their own rules and regulations. So it is not easy for a new company to enter that particular setup and start a business. So it is actually advisable to any company that if they had some contacts in another nation, then joint venture can be a very good type to start an international business. Next one is a wholly owned subsidiary. Again, this is another type of international business. You just go to that particular nation, purchase a company from that particular nation, and that can be created as your own subsidiary. So, company from, for example, any company from our nation just want to expand a business in America or start a new business in America, they will forget the types of international business like we had studied from 1 to 5. They directly purchase a company from America and they will start that business. That thing is called as a wholly owned subsidiary, because they are directly purchasing that company, giving the whatever the cost of that company is. That thing is called as a wholly owned subsidiary. Next one is a strategic partnership. Strategic partnerships are actually a temporary partnerships related to that particular work, to that particular project, to that particular function. After finishing of that project or function, that strategic partnership will get what we can it will get end on. It will get finished when that particular work will get finished. That thing is called a strategic partnership, related to a particular work, related to a particular project, related to a particular function. Means, for example, a company from our nation wants to give a knowledge or give a, what we can say, teach something to a particular nation, company from America, then that particular partnership is related to that particular project only. When that project will get completed, that strategic partnership will also get completed. This type of business is also actually called as international business, because it has that temporary limitations, temporary period, temporary timing. When that work will get finished, ultimately strategic partnerships will also get finished. And the last point is a merger. It means you just get merged with in that company on the rules and regulations set up at the time of merger. That is also one type of international business, because when you are getting merged with another company, your existence, your identity will get also merged. You don't have the separate identity. Maybe the name will have that identity, but again it depends on the rules and regulations set up at the time of merger. So these things are very important, that what type of business or international business you want to start, that thing will define which type of international business you have to start. So these are the types of international business. It depends on different dimensions of international business, different requirements of that particular company, the requirement to follow the rules and regulations. So these are the things which you have to keep in mind, that if you are running a business, if you want to start an international business, you should have to first note down what are your requirements, what type of business you are running, what is the scope to your business. That will ultimately decide the type of international business. So I hope you understand today's point, that types of international business. Next lecture we will see the next point, which will be very important for the examination also.